figure right now is the time where two more lineups come out.
Yeah.
And we are live. Welcome to MLB Live Before Lock Early Slate Edition, Thursday, June 29th. I'm Josh Engleman. I'm joined by Adam Scherer. We're brought to you by Sleeper. Love Thursdays, 5-game early slate, 5-game main slate tonight. I just having more action, so it's going to be a fun one. Hit the like button if you haven't done that already. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Follow us both on Twitter. Our Twitter handles are below our bodies. Adam, what's up?
How's it going? I enjoy these split slate days, so it's fun having like two legitimate slates to play.
It makes me feel like it's a Saturday or a Sunday where you have like multiple sports going on, and like no matter what, you've got some sort of sweat that you can get into. I love these sorts of days. It would be if it were like 6-6 or 7-7. That's like probably like the dream scenario. Yeah, but I'll take 5-5.
Yeah, 5-5 is fine. And yeah, I'm like obviously Saturday is like my favorite DFS day for that reason, except for when it ends and I've lost 50% in like 8 different sports.
Yeah. Last night was almost really, really fun. Yeah, I don't like Shohei Ohtani nearly as much as I did 2 days ago.
Like everybody you could have coming to the plate too. It's like, oh yeah, you just have to avoid the best player in baseball doing anything.
I just wish he hit it like a man.
Right, yeah, home run. Well, I mean, home run probably, I guess, could have been a lot.
He buries one into like a power alley or something. It's like, all right, well, he is awesome, but that's probably like the softest hit he'll get all year. On all that,
perfectly
he feels it like a little bit cleaner. Even just, I don't know why they didn't try to get the dude at second. Like, just you're up a bunch, man. Just give it a shot. Flip it with your glove. Do something. For those that don't know, I took second and third last night, but I was sitting in first for a brief moment, and then Shohei Ohtani had an infield single the prior at bat to the end of the game. Next guy, whoever was up next, Trout? Was it Trout? I don't know. Whoever was up next got out. So that sucked. But second and third will work. It's always fun to see. I am very happy. Like, obviously, I would have preferred it to be 100K up top, but that also would have been a really, really brutal way to lose it.
Yeah, you would have made like the same amount of money. You'd just be more pissed off.
Yeah. Like, clearly, I wanted to always be 100K up top, but emotionally, that would have stung.
Yeah, because it's not like that second place becomes like 60K like it should. It just moves to what, 30?
Probably. You never know.
Right.
Like there are days where it's probably like 25 and 10.
Yeah, I mean, at least you caught one of the slates that it wasn't, 10 to second, 5 to third.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was fun. It's good stuff. And now we're on to today. We've got 5 early games to talk about. Luckily, we don't have to worry about the Pittsburgh game, which I don't know if it's canceled yet, but it seems like it's going to be.
They announced the start time.
Which
is weird. Like, I don't know how the air cleared that fast. But...
I don't think that it did. But yeah. I don't think that's how it works. Wait, what?
What?
Wow, that's an interesting announcement.
You want to share?
Not really, not on our show, I don't, but it's about other shows. You've probably seen it if you've been on Twitter at all. You ready to get into this slate?
Now I want to figure out what you're talking about, but yeah.
You'll find it out eventually. You won't have to look hard. First game up for today. 4.7 run implied total for the Rangers, 4 for the Tigers. Cody Bradford is going for Texas. Reese Olson going for the Tigers. Fun stuff there. 15% ownership coming into Bradford, 21 to Olson. I don't know what was going on when I built my lineups this morning, but I think I had John Gray in for Texas, and I got like 70% of him when I ran it. And I was just like, well, that's weird. We got him projected for 1% ownership. Like, I must be over the field. He's just not the starter. So that explained it really quickly. Let's start with it. Do you want the 4K Bradford or the $7,200 Olson?
Better matchup, obviously, for Bradford. Olson's put up pretty impressive strikeout numbers so far, but now you have a really tough matchup with Texas. I think I'd rather get to Bradford just because he's minimum salary and not facing the Rangers. Like, they have
wild to see.
They have almost identical top 2 pitcher percentages and the same ownership. So what that really tells me is that the difference between having a $7,200 pitcher and a 4K pitcher on this slate isn't that useful.
Yeah. I
And you're really
have them projected for the exact same amount of fantasy points.
Yeah, and I mean, we have very, very similar as well.
Yeah. That said, I'm not really getting to much Bradford. I'm not getting to much Olsen. There's no real way to get to Olsen if you're not getting to Bradford at that point. So, I don't know if I'm going to need to go all the way down to 4K today. Honestly, for me to get more Bradford, I probably have to just like make sure that I don't set a salary floor type stuff. That's probably part of the reason that I get a little bit less of him. And it's not like I don't set it so it's problematic, but in this case, on a 5-gamer, you probably just need a little bit more wiggle room.
Yeah, I don't generally set one. So I won't have that impact, but and I'll have an answer, by the end of the show of sort of exactly what I'm getting to. I just finished crunching all of my lineups, but I haven't figured out yet what I'm playing. But
sure.
Yeah, like when they project that similarly, it just creates a weird situation where like it's gonna feel weird leaving a bunch of salary on the table. And chances are in a lot of those lineups, you'll be able to upgrade some hitter somewhere, but you also could, realistically have a 5-3 stack where you have the hitters you want from both teams. And it's just like, well, okay, these pitchers are the same. I don't really have a preference.
Yeah. Right. So right now I have 3% Bradford, 1% Olsen. I'm not surprised that I don't have Olsen. However, I don't really have the Rangers. That could be a bigger talking point.
That seems kind of problematic just from if the Rangers don't do well, you probably want Olsen.
You would think. Well, let's talk through these guys. Like, are either one of them good?
Olsen's put up solid numbers so far. I don't think he's actually good. I'm pulling his Fangraphs page back up now, but I don't remember being impressed with him when I looked previously. Could obviously be misremembering. Like the Tigers have been bad for so long, they could be bringing up good guys, but like Fangraphs has him as their 12th ranked prospect. They do have him with a 70 grade changeup and a 55-60 slider, which is good. At AAA this year, 10 starts, struck out 26.9% of hitters, 4.73 FIP. So far in 4 starts, 5 appearances in the majors, 24 2/3 innings pitched, 27.7% K percentage. Most of the projection systems project him around 22% going forward, like 4.1 to 4.4 FIP. So like he looks decent. He doesn't look like your, top end cheap guys coming up, like, when Bryce Miller came up and Brian Wu came up and the guys where you're saying like, I'm going out of my way to get to these guys at cheap price tags. He looks more so like, yeah, this guy's good enough. But it is still a really tough matchup against Texas.
Let's talk about Texas then. 3rd in ownership. They're 4th in our top stack tool, 7th in top value. Looking at least a little bit over-owned in this spot. How do you feel about Texas? Obviously, the upside is there.
Yeah, the upside certainly there. And, as we just said, facing a competent pitcher in Olsen, but still a guy making his 5th ever major league start against one of the best offenses in baseball. He has given up power to right-handed hitters this year. And that's not really surprising based on what I just said about his Fangraphs page, where he has a 70 grade changeup. That's a pitch where a lot of pitchers are not comfortable throwing it to same-handed hitters, so they won't do it. In a lot of other cases, it's just not as effective against same-handed hitters. Occasionally you get situations where it is, like Kevin Gossman, where it's technically a splitter, but for the same reason, he wouldn't throw it to righties until halfway through his career, somebody got through to him. But so far we've seen limited sample, but 222 pitches to righties, 219 to lefties from Olsen, 271 expected ISO and a 346 expected WOBA to righties, sub 100 expected ISO, 260 expected WOBA to lefties. Surprisingly, he's not throwing the changeup that much. It's his 3rd most used pitch to lefties, fastball, slider, then changeup. So that's a little surprising, but so far he has had reverse splits in a limited sample. Strikeout percentage against righties is lower as well. I don't think that's something you read into in the sense that like you don't play Nathaniel Lowe or something, but if you were hesitant about playing Semien or Adolis Garcia or Josh Young, you probably shouldn't be.
No Seager in this lineup today. That's a pretty big hole.
Yeah, it makes them cheaper, but also obviously makes them a lot worse.
Yeah.
No, there's somebody else. Oh, no Jonah Heim either.
Yeah. I'm anxious to see if our top stack tool brings them down a little bit on an update, because I'm a little bit lower here, and I don't know if that's just because I caught it at a time where like we haven't run it since we got the lineup or something along those lines. So I'm keeping my eye on it. But yeah, I'm light on Texas right now. That doesn't make me excited. Maybe I'm giving a little bit too much. I don't know. Like Reese Olson projects pretty well for Steamer. well enough that he's not like a gas can, 423 projected FIP. So if that's the case, I think that's probably why I'm getting a little bit limited here. I don't have a lot of this game in general. I have more of the Tigers stacks than I do of the Rangers stacks. 7th in top stack, 1st in value. I mean, they are as free gets. What do you want to do here with the Tigers side of this one? Because I think the Tigers side is like sneaky.
Yeah, I think they're kind of interesting just because, for one, they're not as terrible against left-handed pitching. They are really cheap, like you said. So, we kind of said, is it really necessary to get down to Bradford or even really Olsen? If you're going to the Tigers, then it makes it less necessary because you're using bats to get your value. There's nobody that like stands out as great, but Matt Vierling leading off is certainly a nice value. Torkelson, he's facing a minor league pitcher. Maybe he'll be able to hit them because he can't hit major leaguers. But, Ibanez, Baez from the right side. Carpenter has power, although it's lefty here. So, it's a team where there's not a lot to be excited about. You don't have Eric Haas in the lineup, which isn't ideal. But Vierling at the top, probably my favorite play here. And then if you're just stacking them with the idea that you can pay up for your pitching and get whatever good one-offs around them, I think that's fine.
We did just get an update to top stacks, top pitchers. They did drop a single spot. So we're a little bit closer now. I have a little bit less. I have a little bit more of the Tigers, actually, which is whatever. I didn't end up with as much Tigers yesterday as I originally had once I reran those lineups. If it wasn't for you being like, how are you not jamming the Dodgers? I might not have rerun my lineups, and that would have been a very interesting thing because it ended up doubling the amount of Indians that I had. Whoops, Guardians. Sorry, guys. That's on me.
We were confused who it was on since it was your mouth that it came out of.
Yeah. It happens. Rank the game, I guess. This is hard.
Yeah. Texas, Detroit, Bradford, Olsen. But again, like I'm going to have my lineups in the next, hopefully, like 10 minutes. And wouldn't be surprised if it's actually in any order.
I was just going to say, I think you could kind of pick any side of this one. Like for every other game, I don't even say every other game, but like there's always an extreme one way or the other where first or last. And in this one, I don't think that exists. There's a path for all 4 different directions.
Right. Like I know what projects the best. It's Texas.
Yeah.
And they're, nearly 5 implied run total. When you're talking DFS and you're talking salary constraints and all of that, like you could very easily argue that Detroit's value is more useful than, Texas's implied run total, basically.
Absolutely. Anything else for this game?
Nope.
All righty, folks. 350 people here, 58 likes. Hit that thumbs up if you can. It helps us out a ton. We got schedule for the rest of the day. Lots of shows. Every hour on the hour from this point forward. We've got the So Rare MLB live show at 2. We've got the Underdog NFL live show at 3. We've got the Market Watch show with Aton at 4. MLB Deeper Dive for the main slate at 5. Adam will be back for that one. And then MLB Live Before Lock from 6 until 7. We're packed, man. Every single hour for the rest of the day up until lock, you are going to get a show. If you're interested, I think this is the easy. Oh, Lofty, I hate you for this. Lofty switched the reads and show detail show to the deeper dive. I assume it was Lofty at least. And I was about to start reading and I was like, oh no, did I get the sponsor wrong? But different show altogether. What I got to talk to you guys about, this one's easy. Easy sell, lineup generator, particularly on the MLB side. You get 50% off your first week if you use the link in the description. We've talked a lot about the Sims lately. I need to talk at least a little bit about the lineup generator because I think this is the easiest piece of access for anyone that wants to sign up at Stokastic. We handle all the work on the back end. We create thousands and thousands of lineups. We get rid of all of them that don't grade out well. All the ultra low expected value type lineups, we just throw them in the trash. We present the rest to you. You can click save on a lineup. You'll keep it. You click discard, another one just pops right up. You could lock a player in. You could swap players around. You can choose your stack size, all of that. Export up to 20 via CSV. Again, you're going to get this for 50% off that first week. It's less than $5. Worst case scenario, you cancel during that first week, you hate it, and you're out $5. You cannot beat that deal. If you've been looking to try out a tool on the back end at Stochastic, this is the way to do it. Game number 2, the Royals and the Guardians. 4-run implied total for the Royals, 4.8 for the Guardians. Zach Greinke going for Kansas City. Shane Bieber going for the Guardians. This is a blast from the past. 6,600 for Greinke, even on a 5-game slate. No one's going there. Shane Bieber, on the other hand, 10K, 36% owned, and this dude is a problem for me.
Yeah, it's tricky because of the slate. Like 10K Shane Bieber this season is generally something that you wouldn't be that interested in. But with it being a 5-game slate, with him facing the Royals, it is hot in Kansas City. It looks like it's close to 100 degrees. Ball should carry. As a result, you get Kansas City's implied run total up to 4.1, but otherwise would probably be in the mid threes. But it's the strikeout stuff hasn't been there for Bieber. He's been okay in terms of actual pitching, but he hasn't done anything that justifies a 10K price tag. It's just a matter of what's available on the slate, and you don't have a lot of good pitching on this slate. He's second in top 2 pitcher percentage behind Lance Lynn. Lance Lynn has his own issues, mostly just that he's pitching in Anaheim. So you don't have a single pitcher on the slate that you're looking at and saying, I feel really good about this pitcher. There's nothing wrong with them. There's nothing wrong with their matchup. That just doesn't exist on this slate. So as a result, Bieber still ends up looking like a good enough play, even though realistically he's not a $10,000 pitcher.
He's my most exposed pitcher today. I don't know what to do about it, and I don't like it at all. But, Park limits power, lots of strikeouts in the Royals lineup. I get why it's happening, at least. And there's enough salary to go around where it's not hard to get to him.
Yeah, it's just where you can say, fade Bieber, but you need to follow that up with what pitchers are you taking a big stand on and why do you feel good about them?
Can you justify Greinke today? Because it's not even just it's Greinke. This is as bad of a strikeout matchup as you can find.
So I actually kind of think you can.
Go for it.
And I don't know if I'm getting to him. Again, I'll have an idea in a little bit. But the case that I would make is that he hasn't actually been bad this season. His strikeout percentage is almost the same as Bieber. He has a 4.17x. He has an 18% strikeout percentage. Bieber's at 18.5. 4.17 xFIP. Bieber's at 4.1. One of these pitchers is $10,000 and being rostered by a third of the field, and one of them is 6,600 and nobody is touching him. Now, I realize that it is a different matchup. There's more strikeouts for KC. Maybe Greinke's not going to have the same leash as Bieber. Who knows? But it's kind of a really big gap to simply be explained by the difference in strikeout percentage between Kansas City and Cleveland. Obviously, it's in part also being explained by Shane Bieber. Projection systems obviously look backwards as well. And Shane Bieber 1 to 2 years ago was unbelievably better than Zach Greinke. So you're just going to still get higher projections on Bieber. But when you're just looking at what they've done this year, they've kind of been the same pitcher. So that's the argument. And then the second part of the argument is that Reese Olson's getting ownership against Texas. Bradford's getting it, period. So it's not like you don't have to have interest in weak pitching on the slate. Even Brandon Pfaadt is getting 12% against Tampa Bay. So that would be the case. I still kind of doubt that you need much of it.
I don't have a share. I'm okay with it. I do not want to find out that Zach Greinke is the reason that I didn't win today, but could happen. 5-game slate. You never know. Easier to talk about the bats here. Guardians, first in our top stack tool, 5th in value, 2nd in ownership. This is the team that I am getting the most today, probably because of Zach Greinke, if I had to guess. I don't love the power potential in this park, but it worked out well for the Guardians yesterday. So
yeah, it's still good hitting weather, still nearly a 5-run implied total. Similar implied run total to Texas, but at much less expensive price tags. Similar implied run total to the Yankees, but in a park where it's not a good hitter's park, but at least it's 100 degrees instead of being 70 like Oakland is. A similar implied run total to Tampa. I mean, it looks like a good spot.
I'm getting to basically all of it. Although limited on Josh Bell when he went yard yesterday, that was frustrating, and limited on Miles Straw, but I've got everybody else. I think Jose Ramirez is probably my most exposed hitter. Not surprising to me in any way. So I am getting to more Cleveland right now than anybody else. We did get the Yankees and Rays lineup since we've started this show. So who knows? Once I start rerunning everything, it might end up looking a little bit different. But for now, I'm expecting Cleveland to be my most exposed stack. Let's hope lightning strikes twice. What about Kansas City against Bieber and the ownership?
I don't hate it just because Bieber is getting ownership and he hasn't been that good this year, and you do only have 10 offenses to choose from. But it's not like he's getting lit up by anybody. 186 expected ISO to righties is high, but only a 328 expected WOBA, 167 expected ISO to lefties, 362 expected WOBA. You're going to have a better chance of success going to left-handed bats. So that points you to like Nick Prado leading off, MJ Melendez. But it's a pretty weak lineup. Not having Pasquantino in there hurts. You've also lost almost all of the MPE that you were getting earlier in the season when you could play, Prado first base outfield, Melendez for a little bit, catcher outfield, Witt was third base shortstop. Now these guys have kind of just settled into one position, which makes them more difficult to get to as well.
Yeah, I don't have much, just mostly pretty much all Witt and Perez. I have 9% of Witt, 11 of Perez. Nobody else is more than 1%. So
yeah, I just loaded in what my lineups look like right now.
Mm-hmm.
KC's my highest owned 5-man stack.
So, okay. Well, there you go.
Not thrilled with that, but is what it is.
Yeah, I don't have a single 5-man of Kansas City, so
I did not.
It worked for me. Greinke. Okay. It worked for me yesterday when you and I had very different exposures. So Let's keep it going. Hey, we said one of us will probably do well, was the statement in the DMs yesterday. So maybe it'll be you this time.
Be the other one, but
yeah, I wasn't. It worked out perfect.
Yeah, so I'm getting to a lot of Bobby Witt. He's actually my highest owned hitter. I'm getting to a lot of Sal Perez, and then everybody else is like 15% or less, but they're still just showing up the most in terms of 5-man stacks.
All righty. Rank the game.
So I think the correct order is Bieber, Cleveland, Royals, Greinke. For me, apparently it is Kansas City, like factoring in ownership and everything. It looks like Kansas City, Cleveland, Bieber, Greinke.
There we go. A's and Yankees. Now, we did get the Yankees lineup since then, so let's see. Yeah, it's certainly different than whatever I had. 3.5 run implied total for the A's, 4.9 for the Yanks. Hogan Harris going for Oakland. Clark Schmidt going for the Yanks. Harris 18% owned at 5,900. Schmidt 31% owned at 8,200. I think we're probably in agreement here that Schmidt is the guy that looks better.
Yeah, I'm a little bit over the field on Harris, a little bit under on Schmidt. 28% Schmidt, 24% Harris.
I don't have any Harris. I have 45% Clark Schmidt. I'm more than okay with that.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Schmidt is a solid strikeout pitcher. 22.5% strikeout percentage is actually it only trails Olsen and Lynn on this slate. 4.17 xFIP, good park, good matchup, all of that. So certainly looks good. He's a little bit more expensive than usual, but on this slate, that doesn't matter too much. Harris is a competent pitcher. He's pretty similar, I think, to Reese Olson in terms of talent, but does have a better matchup going up against the Yankees. You get a good park in Oakland. You get a lineup that's still missing Aaron Judge. So I don't mind getting to some Harris here. Rest of season, he projects for like a 21 to 24% strikeout percentage, depending what model you're looking at. 4.3 to 4.7 FIP. So not quite as good as Olsen, but similar and less expensive.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind if I got to any Harris. I'm just not really in that total range. It's just going to be a Schmidt day. Let's talk Yankees bats, I guess, because I don't think you're going to be telling me that you have more of the A's bats. Yankees are 5th in ownership, 2nd in our top stack tool, 3rd in top value. Are the Yankees under-owned right now?
I'm not getting a lot.
Okay.
I
am, by the way, so that makes sense.
Yeah, I have a total of 5. So yeah, like 10% of my lineups are 5-man Yankee stacks. They're
slightly
fine.
higher percentage.
I just don't like the park. The lineup sucks. Like Torres, Cheap LeMahieu, Torres, Stanton, Bader. You're not upset about any of those guys, but Josh Donaldson's been absolutely awful. Maybe he turns around, maybe he doesn't. He's certainly at that point in his career where it could just be over. This lineup is just rough without Judge in it.
Yeah, it really is. Maybe it'll look a little bit different. Like I have a ton of the Yankees right now. 40 to 50 of I basically have three teams that I'm stacking: the Guardians, the Yankees, and the Diamondbacks. That they're just making up all of my 5-mans across the 5-man or the 5-game slate. Maybe that changes when I rerun for the Rays lineup, the Yankees lineup, the White Sox lineup. But as of right now, the Yankees are right behind Cleveland for me, aggressively owned. What about Oakland? Because they're basically free. They're also very clearly dead last in top stack. You do get the leverage on the opposite side of Clark Schmidt, but this park is tough, and this A's team is not very good.
Yeah, tough park. Team isn't very good. 3.6 implied run total is, I believe, the lowest on the slate. So it is tough to get to. What?
It is.
Yeah, it is. So like, it's tough to get to them. They're a team that I actually get to a decent amount. But even today, just getting to one 5-man Oakland stack, it's pretty tough to make a case for getting there. If you are looking for individual bats against Schmidt, he's been worse against lefties, as you'd expect. 19% K percentage there compared to 25% to righties. 172 expected ISO to lefties, 160 to righties, 367 expected WOBA to lefties, 285 to righties. So if you are trying to just single guys out, I think you're looking at Ryan Noda, JJ Bleday, Seth Brown, primarily like that 3-man group, but pretty clearly the least appealing offense.
It's rare that you see 8 straight dudes 2,900 or less, and then your 9-hitter is 3,900.
Yeah, they're not that it's like super actionable if you're playing a lot of lineups, but they did become less appealing once they started batting Ruiz last, because he's not a great hitter, but that dude steals constantly.
Yeah, it's just funny to see that all of that salary is allocated to your 9-hole hitter. Yeah, I basically don't have Oakland. So if they're the team today, congrats to Shanzan for winning the money. Rank the game.
Schmidt, Harris, Yankees, Oakland.
Yeah, that's going to be Schmidt, Yankees, Harris, Oakland for me. I think it's pretty clearly Schmidt won.
Yeah.
Like this piece seems a little bit easier. Anything else for this game?
Nope.
All right. Well, we got to talk a little bit about the sponsor of this show. That's going to be Sleeper. I hope you were able to take advantage of the Aaron Nola play last night. I don't believe that I have one of those fun ones for you today. So the best that I can tell you is this. If you click the link in the description and sign up at Sleeper, you'll get up to $100 on your first deposit. Right away, you're doubling your bankroll up to $100. And Sleeper is going to be a little bit different. We talk a lot about these pick'em sites from time to time. This one changes the game up a little bit. One, they have higher payouts than any other site like this, up to 100x. That's a massive number. Two, they have dynamic payouts. So it's going to operate a little bit more like general sports betting on props than some of the other pick'em sites, because maybe there's a lot of juice on one side of those props. So maybe you're getting 2x or 3x or 4x for taking a side instead of it just being even action both ways. And that's why you end up getting those bigger payouts. That's why you get up to 100x multiplier. They run plenty of promos with free squares, so that should help you out. Always take advantage of free squares when you can, but really all you need to do is just sign up using the link in the description. Big fan of the product. Love that it resembles sports betting a little bit more. As someone that's not in a legal betting state, it helps out a little bit to get to somewhere like Sleeper. So sign up using our link. Helps us out an absolute ton. Alrighty, let's go to the Diamondbacks and Rays. 5-run implied total for the Diamondbacks. 4.9 for the Rays. Brandon Pfaadt and Yanni Chirinos, who should be the long man for the Rays. 11% ownership coming in to Pfaadt. 3 to Chirinos. I'm getting to Pfaadt, and I don't like it.
Yeah, I'm getting around the field on. I'm around the field on Pfaadt. 14% for me. We have him projected for 12%. Brandon Pfaadt is a highly regarded pitching prospect. He struggled when he first came up earlier in the year, went back down. Who knows how it's going to go this time? But I think the nice thing is that he is only 5,400. It is a tough matchup for sure, like you said. But he's more talented probably than Harris, certainly than Bradford. The other cheap pitching options today. So with it being a 5-game slate, I think that 10 to 15% ownership makes sense. He's not somebody I'd be likely to get to in my first or second lineup, but once you're playing 50, 100, 150 lineups, he's going to just start showing up, just because you want alternatives to Bradford and Harris.
Yeah. So this is where I'm getting. I have 28% of FAD. I didn't have Olsen. I didn't have Harris. So I don't have Bradford. I'm just getting to more of Brandon Pfaadt and to some of the other more pay up options. What about Chirinos at 6,800? There used to be a time where he'd be 4K every time he was the long man, and you just kind of played him all the time. Those days seem to be long gone.
Yeah, tough for me to get to here because he's not exactly free. He's 6,800. You always have at least some level of concern with, exactly how many pitches is the long guy going to throw, because it can be impacted by so many things, whether it's them just deciding they only want him to go 3 innings, or it's, the game goes a specific way and he ends up coming out earlier than you hoped. So it's always tough to get to these guys once they start being priced basically like they are starting pitchers. He also hasn't been particularly good this year. That's another big difference between when we used to play him every time he was the long guy, is he actually pitched well for a period of time. This year, striking out less than 8% of left-handed hitters, less than 15% of righties, 204 expected ISO to righties, 214 to lefties. Tough matchup with Arizona. Him and Greinke are the 2 starters that I don't have, or 2 pitchers I don't have.
Yeah, I don't have any of Yanni or Greinke, so I'm happy with that. Let's talk offenses here. Rays are number 1 in ownership. Diamondbacks are 4th. I'm quite a bit higher on my top stack odds for the Rays and Diamondbacks than we are. We have the Rays 6th, dead last in value, which I get. We have the Diamondbacks 8th. That does not make a ton of sense to me. I have them 3rd based on the run totals. This seems like the sort of best place to get to. Let's start with the Rays, who are carrying the most ownership. Are you planning to get to Tampa today, or is this a spot where you're going to be under?
I think I'm pretty much around the field on Tampa. They're showing up so basically I have Kansas City as, like I said, my most popular 5-man. And then I have several teams that are very close together after them. Arizona is one of those teams. Right now we have them projected for like 11% aggregate ownership. In terms of 5-man stacks, I have like 12%. So pretty similar.
I have 27 Diamondbacks 5-mans. I only have 2 of the Rays, but I am using the Rays pretty liberally as filler for the rest of my stack. So like I'm neutral to the field on Wander Franco, on Luke Raley, on Arozarena, on
you might want to get off of Arozarena.
Well, where I was before. It's not I'm not.
I was looking because he's my highest owned Tampa hitter. So
okay, it was a good play until 10 minutes ago when the Rays lineup came out, which I will rerun, that's for sure. But I wasn't really getting to much. Probably has a lot to do with the fact that they are as heavily owned as they are. And I'm getting to sort of the Guardians instead of them. But I mean, they do look good, but I've got more Brandon Pfaadt, and I think that's where I would rather be given his $5,400 price tag. It's not fun to go up against the Rays. I'm hoping this lineup just looks worse when I rerun it.
Yeah, I mean, it should. You don't have Arozarena.
Yeah, that tends to help at least a little bit. But yeah, Diamondbacks are the team that I'm getting to. I have them 3rd in my top stack tool. They're not as cheap as you would expect them to be, but I'm locked and loaded on Corbin Carroll right now. I have a ton that will never feel bad to me at all. Dude is ultra good. This is my 3rd most exposed team. So I mentioned the Guardians before. I mentioned the Yankees before. Diamondbacks are coming in 3rd for me. How are you when you look at both of these offenses, is this a game that you want to have a lot of?
I think I'm around the field on it. I'm a little below the field probably on Tampa, and we'll have even less now that we got that lineup.
We have all the lineups now, by the way.
Yeah, I'm around the field in Arizona, so it's just a pretty neutral game for me when you factor in pricing and everything else.
All righty. Well, I'm glad we got all the lineups. That's earlier than I was expecting.
Yeah, now I'm tempted to actually try and rerun everything.
Oh, you should do that. It'll really make the analysis of Angels White Sox in the next 25 minutes fun for me. You will be quite the asset, I think. Just guessing, but I think that I think the show will get a lot better if you're just not paying attention at all. I kind of just want to pseudo hit pause while we start working our way through everything. Might as well. If anybody has any questions, feel free to drop them into chat. Got about 425 people in here, 90 likes, so hit that thumbs up. I'm going to try to get this started and get this rerun. Feels like that's the right thing to do right about now. And then we could actually hash out everything that we're doing. You
Yeah,
guys should sign up for the Sims tool, by the way.
What'd you say?
I was going to tell everybody to sign up for the Sims tool, but what are you doing?
I'm trying to see exactly how screwed I am by these lineups. Because like I know a Rosarania hurt, but other than that, like if it's just him, that's easy enough to just swap around later. If it's like all of these lineups are way different, then might have to suck it up.
Let me know when you get there. I mean, I'm just doing it, so call me Nike, I guess. Guys, sign up for the Sims tool. Adam does a Sims video every single day, Monday through Friday. You'll get Sim content from Greg on his Twitter feed. We're going to talk about it a lot because it is a fantastic tool. It will absolutely improve your lineup selection process. Is it a pretty sizable outlay of cash? Yeah. And we think that that is completely warranted because there's not another product out there right now that is providing this high level information of giving you expected value and ROI rates on individual players, on stacks, on lineups, on the actual entrants themselves. There's so much data going on in the Sims tool. If you have ever been interested in it and you have the cash, I think you should sign up and check it out, at least for the first month. There's no deals or anything. I just have to present it to you guys like this. If you want to check out more of it, go check out Adam's Sims video. There isn't one yet for today, but you can see yesterday's. If you want to get an idea of what the tool looks like, Adam, you'll have a Sims video a little bit later today, I would imagine.
Yeah.
There we go. So guys, go check that out. It will help you. There's no other way for me to say that. I know it sounds ridiculous. This will make you an incrementally better DFS player. Where we draw that line is sort of up to you, but I'm quite confident it will move the line up. That's for sure. I know that when I run this crunch, I'm going to end up getting all sorts of weird stuff that like I didn't have before. I just know how this works. Everything that I said before is just going to be all garbage. I know where you're going with that one. Here's a question for you before I run my crunch. Not that I need it for me, but just for everybody else. Do you allow for hitters against your pitcher on a 5-game slate?
No, I stopped even doing it on 4, and I only do 1 on 3. I don't do it on 5.
Okay.
The reasoning was really just it was a 3-game slate that we did a live before lock show for, very similar, where Tampa Bay ran out a lineup that was completely different than I had assumed. So then I had to go back in after the show and start swapping stuff. And I kind of just realized, because what I was doing at the time was on 3-game slates, I was allowing for 2 hitters. And as I'm making those swaps, I was just realizing that in so many of those lineups, at least one of the hitters versus my pitcher, I could play a completely comparable guy that wasn't facing one of my pitchers. And that was on a 3-gamer. And so I was like, okay, I've probably just been a little too lax with this.
Fair enough. Well, let's hit this final game as everything continues to run. Angels and White Sox, 4.8 run implied total for the Angels, 4.5 for the Sox. Patrick Sandoval going for the Angels. Lance Lynn going for the White Sox. Let's start with Lynn. 35% owned, 8,800. And then Sandoval on the opposite side, 27% owned, 7K. How do you feel about Lynn here? Because the $8,800 price tag sort of puts him in a different level. Great strikeout matchup. Where do you see Lynn with regards to everybody else? Because he's tied for the most ownership with Bieber.
Yeah, he's second most for me. I get why the ownership's coming in because of the $8,800 price tag, the fact that, he is a good strikeout pitcher. The thing that concerns me a little bit is you're talking about the most popular pitcher on the slate going up against a team with a 5-run implied total. It's not like the Angels don't have a bunch of power. It's not like this isn't a really good hitter's park. Looking at the way their lineup is made up, they also have 6 left-handed hitters in the lineup, 4 of them in the top 6, with Moniak leading off, Ohtani batting 3rd, Moustakas 5, Matt Thaiss 6, and then Escobar and Velasquez rounding out the lineup at 8 and 9. Lance Lynn has some massive splits, 23.7% K percentage to lefties compared to 30% to righties, 289 expected WOBA allowed to righties, 388 to lefties, 264 expected ISO to lefties, over 100 points higher than it is to righties. That's not exactly what you want to see when you're going up against Ohtani in particular, but lefties in general in this park.
Talk to me about Sandoval on the opposite side. Like, who should be getting more ownership? I assume you say the answer is Lynn to you.
I mean, it's Sandoval for me.
Okay. I don't know what to do in this. This game is puzzling to me. Like I have a ton of Sandoval and basically zero Lance Lynn, and that scares me in a
Yeah, so
big
for me,
way.
I have 42% Sandoval, 38% Lynn. They're my two highest owned pitchers.
Okay, so I have 41% Sandoval, 9% Lynn. Like I am just not there. That's the guy that I need to pseudo fail today. So I assume Otani's not going to be getting any infield singles to save me on this one. He'll probably just K 5 times or something really out of pocket for him. I guess let's talk about bats then. The White Sox are the slightly more owned team, and they're probably a little bit easier to get to. Fourth in top stack, just a hair behind the Angels, but also fourth in value. Angels much more expensive. Do you like the White Sox side of this one? Is this just a game where you kind of get everything?
Yeah, the White Sox are showing up. Actually, the White Sox aren't showing up for me much at all. I have a couple 5-man stacks, but definitely getting to Sandoval more. The Angels are showing up a bit more. Angels are one of those teams that's kind of lumped in with like Arizona, Texas, Tampa Bay, Cleveland, as far as like the next tier of teams I'm getting to after KC. So I am more interested in the Angel side. And it's for the reasons I said. Lynn is a good pitcher overall, but one, he's popular, and two, there is so much left-handed power in this lineup. When you talk about the White Sox, Sandoval strikeout numbers are down this year from last year and every other year in his career. That may or may not rebound. I expect it does, at least to some extent. But even so, he hasn't been giving up a lot of power. 159 expected ISO to righties, sub 100 to lefties. You do have, Luis Robert, Eloy Jimenez, Andrew Vaughn in particular, Jake Berger, right-handed bats that can do power here. It's an entirely right-handed lineup, but Sandoval has at least been able to limit power. So the Angel side is actually the more appealing side to me, just in terms of the home run upside they offer.
Prior to rerunning my crunch, I was half the field of the Angels and basically didn't have the White Sox. So this is a game where I'm much more reliant on the Patrick Sandoval pitching than anything else. I do have a pretty sizable chunk of Otani. I am neutral to the field there. The White Sox are a bit of a fade to me. So that works for me. If I'm going to be getting to Sandoval, I'm happy to not really have the White Sox. They worked out really well for me yesterday, but it doesn't look like it's going to be a White Sox day for me today. Let's see. Rank the game, I guess.
So for me, it's Sandoval, Lynn, Angels, White Sox. For the field, it's Lynn, and I don't think that's wrong. It's just not exactly what I'm getting to.
Yeah, I think mine would be Sandoval, Angels, Lynn, White Sox. But this is certainly one where I think people can move it around a little bit. 5 games up, 5 games down. We still have a lot of time left in this bad boy. So feel free to update whatever you can. Chat, if you got any questions, hit us with them. We got plenty of time to answer whatever you could possibly need. That's the benefit of these early slates. We get a little bit of extra time to work our way through our stuff with you guys. I'm just uploading dummy lineups so that I don't end up being like Adam and locking in like 3 guys on the random.
Not my fault if you don't want to win tournaments.
That's true. I tried my best yesterday. The silver and the bronze. Do you two get a lot of 200 plus lineups?
What's that mean?
I don't know. I don't know what that 200. I don't know what that means. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't have a guess.
Favorite 2 pitchers for DK Cash.
Lynn and Bieber, Schmidt.
Yeah.
2 of those 3.
Yeah. I was just going to say some combination of those 3. 200 DFS points. I don't.
Depends on the slate. I have no idea.
I don't ever know what score I get.
Yeah, it's looking at it like that is irrelevant.
Yeah. Let's see. Favorite stacks and pitchers for cash games. We already sort of hit the pitcher side of that one. Stacks, Diamondbacks, and Guardians probably are going to make up a decent chunk of it. They are the 2 most exposed teams.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going out of my way to stack in cash, but I would assume you're getting a lot of Cleveland showing up because of how cheap they are.
Yeah. Lots of DK Cash questions. A lot of people playing DK Cash on the early slate of a Thursday is. Oof. What else we got? Home run picks. Who's hitting the dong today?
Otani. If
Way to
that's
go out
cheating,
on
I'll take Moniak.
Way to go out on a limb.
Okay, I'll take Moniak then.
Might as well just take Judge. I got Barry Bonds in 2001. Give me Corbin Carroll. I'm cheating too, I guess.
No, I mean, Ohtani's on a different level than him.
Yeah, he is pretty good. Is my sim done yet? It is done. Okay. Time to find out what I actually have. Oh, I don't think I'm going to like it. I think it's just going to be a sea of Guardians. Let's see. Any other questions popping in? We hit the home run questions. We got a Jose Ramirez shout, a Lou Bob shout. Nothing too nuts. Yeah, it's just all of the Guardians. So let's try to limit that a little bit and find out where we end up. Take that down to 50, 45. All righty. Whale looks like it's going to be Guardians pretty aggressively for me. Yankees pretty aggressively for me now. That went from not really having them to new Yankees lineup having even more to now Rays. Big time stand on the Rays. Decent stand on the Diamondbacks. Kind of just with everybody. I don't love it, but I'm not seeing a lot of places where I can get ultra different right now.
Yeah, I'm still.
Are you still getting? I was
gonna
gonna say,
to,
are you still getting to like the crazy ass Royals?
I don't know. Right now, I just have the same lineups, but hopefully, can get things swapped out.
I'm making a little bit of a bump here to some of my stuff. How far down? If that's 87, what happens if I make a couple tweaks? Yeah, I think I'm just gonna have to roll with this right now. I don't totally love. I was hoping to get to one of the teams that are like a little bit more off the beaten path for today, and that just doesn't appear to be happening.
Yeah, I mean, ownership just kind of seemed pretty efficient. Like I said, I'm getting to a lot of KC who is low owned, but that's also not exactly something I love doing.
Right. I basically just don't have the A's, the Royals, the Rangers, and the White Sox. So no double dongs at any of those teams, please. That would be my ideal setup. I'm gonna put these lineups in, I guess. I don't think I have much else to do until we do another ownership. Like I'll do one last ownership refresh just in case. Doubt anything major changes for me, but how are you going to need every single minute you've got right now?
Yes.
Okay. I was just going to say, like, all right, if you're close, I won't. Fair enough. Let's see. Anything new from chat? Is Ohtani the best player in baseball? Yes.
And not even like just combining his pitching. Like he's the best, if he's one of the best, if not the best hitters, and he's on the short list of best pitchers.
Yeah. Chat, you got anything for us? Jenna says, I'm going to try Kansas City and Oakland, small slate DFS theory play. I mean, that's one path to go.
I mean, I'm hoping one of those things ends up working out.
I hope neither of them work out. Sorry, Jenna. Who is the most overrated classic rock band of all time?
Wrong person.
Yeah, I don't. If they're overrated to me, then that they're not even going to be in my brain to say them as the answer.
Yeah, because it's not like either of us. I mean, you're older than me, but still, it's not like either of us grew up where it was like we were like in high school, like, oh, everybody likes this band, but I don't. Like if I'm aware of them, it's probably from like my dad listening to them, and I just like them.
Yeah, I don't have an answer for it. I probably like most of it. Like they're the hits, at least. I don't know enough about like the rest of most of these people's catalogs. That's really the issue. All right, so I got my lineups uploaded. That feels pretty good. We've got a couple minutes yet before we drop, probably like 2 or 3 minutes before we drop out of here. We got to let it loose for the So Rare MLB show, and that's going to kick off at 2:00. But let's see. Most exposed everything for me. Oh, wow. My pitching exposure has dramatically changed. I now have all of the Patrick Sandoval and most of the Shane Bieber. So I'm going to go back to the drawing board a little bit on that one.
I mean, I don't hate it.
No, but I don't need 95% Sandoval and 73% Shane Bieber for today.
Yeah, it's a little aggressive.
I don't need that much, you know? Oh, okay. I'm just like deleting things out of my sheet somehow. Yeah, that looks a little bit better. Let's tame this beast at least slightly. But yeah, Guardians, like it. Rays, Diamondbacks, I'm fine with cornering that entire game itself. And then I'm going to hope that my Guardians lead me to the promised land. Do you have anything else you want to add before we get out of here? I think we can sort of wrap this one up. Jordan, are you on the So Rare MLB show? Are you promoting, or are you promoting that, producing that? You're not? Okay. Well, that'll give them the perfect amount of time to get started. Chat, you have one last shot to get a question in if you have one. It's just a lot of people talking about classic rock. So I think that's the perfect opportunity for us to get out of here. Guys, thank you for joining us. Please hit that like button if you haven't done it already. Thank you to Sleeper for being the sponsor. Thank you to Jordan for being the producer extraordinaire. Thanks to Adam, I guess. Good luck, everybody. Enjoy this early slate. We got another main one tonight, 2 more hours of MLB content from 5 to 7, but we don't stop doing shows. So whether we're here or on the Odd Shopper channel, you'll enjoy yourselves. We're out of here. Peace.